starting your journey to financial freedom. Now, you're listening to the New Investor Podcast.
This is the Young Investor for the New Investor Podcast and the Saturday Debrief. I managed to negotiate a conference room in a hotel so that I can record that episode. Please do forgive me if there is any unwanted noises or even people entering or barging into the room. Now, this week has seen a large portion of my gains wiped out. While I still remain ahead with a 6.5% in capital gains, such has now fallen below my 7% threshold, which I aim to maintain until the end of the year. Now, the US-China trade war, coupled with fresh rounds of tariffs on Mexican goods now, and I hear that India is coming next, spread concerns on the markets, triggering sell-offs of company stocks that have certain level of dependence on China in order to do business in the US. Now, the trade wars have touched the tech sector also further even as well, due to the Huawei crisis and its ramification, in addition to bank stocks being hit mainly due to uncertainty in the economy following all of this. No one seems to be spared, and Morgan Stanley is now putting the US economy on recession watch. That is the latest news on that front. Now, only one thing I can say and repeat again and again: I wish I had much more cash aside to take full advantage of this. Not enough cash, as this whole crisis has happened really fast, not leaving enough time to build cash from a single income, but I am convinced that investment funds will jump on the opportunity in the coming weeks and generate solid profits. My second favorite stock, Bank of America, has already lost close to 10% in value from the initial stock price I purchased it for. However, I have decided this week to focus on Apple, and my next move will happen in July if all goes to plan. I will need to look at my expenses really seriously until then and yield as much cash as possible for my July move. While the Bank of America stock is really tempting right now, and it being a real chance to seriously reduce my average on it, I would prefer to increase my position in my largest investment, for which I see a much larger potential for growth than a bank stock, which provides, to my view, stability in my portfolio. I now need to free up some cash, as said, work harder to create that second source of income, which will take much longer to achieve, and keep growing my dividend stocks so I can reinvest them at the end of the year for more dividend stocks. I believe the worst thing you can do is dump your current stocks to release cash for other investments, as you would probably sell them off with a loss as they stand today. They will recover in due time, and I am not worried about that. Just be patient. I would rather inject more capital, I guess, as this is the only way to continue on building wealth with a prospect of serious capital growth down the line. I personally believe this could be happening. The US president is up for re-election in 2020, so every move he takes have that objective in mind, and what better way than control a trade war that he could basically curate or stop at any time. Such would play quite well for him down the line. Eventually this crisis will be over and start weakening as we get closer to the US elections, to the greatest benefit of your investment made during this crisis or today. It will not benefit the future president, I believe, to be re-elected during a full-blown recession. Now, this week has also revealed that you will not make any progress in your quest to financial freedom if you do not put in the work. And I have experienced that in May. I have failed in one of my objectives this week because I and only I did not do the job I was supposed to do. It is easier to say to yourself what you need to do, but what matters after all is the execution, and only the results matter. No one will care how hard you have worked if the results do not follow. No one will care about why you were not able to make it, and no one will care about your feelings. Only the market will decide if you're good enough to succeed in it. However, there is one thing that the market does not foresee. It will be your ability to get back at it again, regardless of your failures, as they are part of the process. As far as I was concerned on this one, the achievement of my objective in May was entirely under my control. So it is my fault, and only my fault, that I did not make it. I wish you a great weekend, and get prepared for this week. You have just been paid. Take the right steps for your future self. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and I really hope that it brings you some additional support on your own journey towards financial freedom. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you stay updated with new episodes. It would mean a lot to me if you follow me on Instagram at the New Investor Podcast. And in the meantime, stay invested, be patient, and keep playing the long-term game.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.